Greetings to the 23.1 thousand Grimdark enjoyers of my channel, and a friendly hello to the 70% who haven't subscribed. Like many Warhammer 40k fans, I've been enjoying Space Marine 2 quite a bit. Returning to Titus's story has been a real treat, and broadly speaking, the developers at Saber have created a very satisfying gameplay loop for us to enjoy. And I hope given time, Space Marine 2 attains a wealth of content akin to Vermintide 2. But I do have some gripes. The key area I find Space Marine 2 drops the ball is in the customization of our beloved transhuman battle brothers. And so I thought I would share what I deem are the top 5 customization needs for Space Marine 2. In the number 1 spot is eye lenses. Eye lenses cannot currently be customized through color selection. Why is it a problem? Well, simply put, eye lenses are a crucial component to an army's color scheme. This is why in my Easy Eye Lens video I demonstrate a variety of colors. The eyes are, after all, the windows to the soul. As of right now, the eye lens status quo is: the vast majority of helm options have eye lenses locked with red lenses, with some classes, not all, having a particular helmet option which is locked with green lenses. Thankfully, in a recent Q&A post, the devs confirmed that we will indeed be getting new lens colors in the next big patch. It should be simple enough to drive material tinting via a vector parameter, and I hope we would get access to a color slider to really maximize the customization. But if we must adhere to our Citadel paint swatches, then at minimum, there should be a set of standard swatches for each basic eye lens color. Speaking of color swatches, number 2 is color categories. A great quality of life improvement would be to remove the classification of colors and the restriction of armor components which can accept those classifications. Look, overall the customization menu in Space Marine 2 is a little clunky, and it is only made more confusing for these distinctions. For example, I wanted to get a nice bright blue for my right shoulder pad trim. You know, so I could recreate my Firekeeper's avatar. So I went into the customization menu, went into the heraldry menu, eventually found Sotek Green, bought the prerequisites, then finally bought the color. Only to find out the color won't show up on the color swatch selection menu for shoulder pad trim. And so Macragge blue it is, I guess. Why have players buy Citadel paint swatches but then restrict where those colors can go? Relating to last week's video on game mechanics, this is an apt example of mechanical dissonance, as when I buy Sotek Green, I can paint it wherever I please. Number 3 is chapter emblems. Similar to the paint pot color swatches, chapter emblems are too rigid in their application. Let's say I'm a White Scars guy. Immediately, I would go to the heraldry menu and get those upgrades. And now I can live my best White Scars life. But then me and the boys want to rock that Deathwatch service vibe. After all, the option to obtain the Deathwatch shoulder pad is available. But things are made very awkward because I am unable to put my unlocked decal on the opposite shoulder. Simply, all chapter badge emblems should be applicable to either shoulder. Number 4 is weapon casings. Simple enough of a concept, right? We ought to be able to modify the color of our weapon casings. Sure, fancy relic weapon skins can overwrite or ignore it, but for the rank and file weapons, we should be able to specify a color. And if you find yourself asking, why? It's because weapon casings are often an essential part of a chapter's color scheme and heraldry. For my Firekeepers, I use dark blue weapon casings, so I'm not too perturbed by the black default casings we're stuck with. But if I was a Dark Angels or Iron Hands guy, I'd very much appreciate being able to customize my war gear appropriately. Not to mention any Ultramarine fans who are seeking that 3rd edition nostalgia. Number 5. No hands. Here again we have another ought, perhaps the most important of them all. We really ought to have the ability to apply different colors to the hands through custom rules on the heraldry editor. To offer a bit of praise, my Firekeeper's color scheme features green wrist cuffs breaking up their black arms, which is admittedly a very obscure coloration choice, one I didn't expect to have the means to realize. But even with the limited options available on only a couple of classes, I'm able to represent it fairly well, which honestly feels great.
Lovely.
But for the much beloved chapters like the Crimson Fists and the Iron Hands, or any custom successor for that matter, the inability to set a custom color rule for a separate hand color is sorely missed. It's too bad, given that most ARM options seem to have an unused color slot just waiting to be used. Now in that same Q&A, the devs specified they will be adding in all those options, but the implication is that those features would be tied to the rollout of those successor chapters. This is something I don't feel good about. Here's the developer's content release roadmap for Space Marine 2's Year 1. And we can see in each season, 1 or 2 chapters will receive a champion pack and or a cosmetic pack. And if my inference from their Q&A is correct, it seems color masks for missing armor parts like hands will only arrive when, say, Imperial Fists gain their focus on the season rotation. Similar to how the Haft color scheme mask is available at launch via the Omega Marines. This paradigm suffers from 2 undesirable issues. The first being that it is quite off-putting to paywall players who desire to customize something as simple as the color of their hands through content locked within the season pass. But I'll leave room for error here. It could be that hand masks become available for all, but only when that content pack is released. But that doesn't remedy what follows. This style of roadmapping content yields the same problem as GW's own Codex drip feed release on the tabletop. In any PvE game system with progression where you level up your guy and unlock new perks, upgrade your weapons, etc., it's all about the journey. Something I think is great about Space Marine 2's PvE is the wish fulfillment it offers. To be able to set out with a class as a rank-and-file guy, to level up and decide, now it is time, I shall now become a Brother Sergeant. To continue the path, eventually unlocking Artificer grade war gear, and decide, shit, I am now of big boy veteran status. And I get it, you want content to release for the game's longevity. It's more than reasonable to have unique helmet patterns and flavorful thematic accessories like braziers or scale cloaks as part of the premium cosmetic seasonal releases, similar to chapter-specific upgrade sprues. But the ability to color your guy so you can enjoy the journey without breaking immersion should be available at launch, and not only available multiple seasons into the game. Because if Crimson Fists and Iron Hands players have to wait until at minimum Season 3, the vast majority of that journey will likely already have been complete. And lastly, we've got a bonus opinion wish piece. I like tilting plates, I'm a big fan of them. And I think there's a missed opportunity here. Tilting plates, in my opinion, should have been a toggleable option available to each class. Tactical could wear it straight on, Heavy could chain it off to the side, whatever. But what they should have allowed is for displayable badges or honor markings, which could be obtained through accomplishing feats. Things like clearing campaign, or all operations on various difficulties. Or class-specific feats, such as completing all trials, defeating extremis-level enemies with headshots for the sniper class, or defeating a Carnifex with only melee attacks for the assault class. There's a ton of design space here, but in this way it would allow players to display commendations of their service, for things which you, as the player, accomplished, much in the same manner they would be used in-world. That's a wrap on my top 5 needs for Space Marine 2's customization. If you enjoyed this video, there are buttons for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous patrons and channel members. Channel members and patrons get early access to videos. Just a little something for those who help keep the dream alive. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.